Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. I'm Kalikaiz. Today we are doing Decks of the Week. I'm talking about what happened in the Magic Online leagues, what does the metagame look like, and what is the spiciest stuff I can come up with from the leagues. We have been getting not all the data from the Magic Online challenges, so I haven't been populating or putting that up on this video, but if you're interested in getting information from the Magic Online challenges, definitely check out Kerblinksy on Twitter or Blue Sky, because he's got the top 32 along with the things that he found the spiciest. Before I actually get into the information, definitely make sure you like, subscribe, all that jazz. You can get early access to videos on the YouTube page or sideboard guides on my Patreon, which is all linked in the description. And if you are somewhere near Philadelphia, there is a 1K happening that has a cap of, I believe, 36 players. They've already got 25 players registered, and that is happening this Sunday, the 27th. The link for that is in the description as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. What is going on in Magic Online? Well, we have completely shifted the format probably. Now the top deck is Madness Burn, which actually we had some mono red Madness Burns too, so I guess Madness is just the way to go, but this deck hasn't really gained anything, but is just seeming to be really taking off. The top two decks of the metagame are Madness Burn, of trophy metagame anyway, Madness Burn and mono red, which, what's the combination there? 36% of the metagame of the trophies, that's wild. And then the third place trophy-wise is Elves, then Mono Blue Terror, and things are dropping off from there. I mean, so you have to wonder, is 36% of the metagame these two decks, or is this just what's getting the most trophies because they're the most played? Can't really answer that question. Could be a little bit of both. That's fine. You can kind of tech versus these decks. I'm okay with it. We have Mono Blue Terror, then Jund Wildfire, then Infinity, some White Weenies, a decent amount of Arcane Tide with 6 trophies. This is covering from April 15th to the 21st, so Tuesday to Monday again. Some Flickertron, a bunch of 1-ofs and 2-ofs, all the way on down. So overall, it looks like relatively healthy. I think it's fine for a burn deck to be in first. Both are actually requiring different answers though. So Madness Burn, a little less weak to Hydroblast. Mono Red, decently weak to Hydroblast, but there's just so many variations of Burn right now that it's kind of like all over the place still, and the metagame is still not solved. So let's check out some of the cool decks. So the first thing I wanted to look at was Boros Aggro. It's not Boros Aggro. This is White Weenie playing 1 Sacred Peaks and 2 Pyroblasts. It's just like, okay, I don't understand why you're playing 2 Pyroblasts. They also are playing 1 of each, which is funny. 4th Raven Charms in the main deck is a statement for sure. They have Suture Priest, which I guess is for like maybe a holdover, but they also have Mardu Devotee, which can add red mana. And then they're playing pretty much a classic White Weenie deck. They're not playing the Camel, looks like. That's interesting. And they're playing Rally the Peasants. Oh, okay. I see you. So they're playing Rally the Peasants instead of the 1 white pump spell because they have the Sacred Peaks. So for 6 mana, they can give everything +4/+0. All right, that is pretty cool. I like that. Now, moving on to Elves. People said that I kind of didn't give Elves its due last week. That's okay. Here's an Elves list. This is basically mono green Elves playing Winding Way, and you meet in a tavern. And then they have a decent amount of color fixing with Birchlore Rangers and Jaspera Sentinel. They're playing Dwinnen's Elite. They don't have any... That grabs... Okay, Dwinnen's Elite, when it ETBs, if you control another elf, get another 1/1 elf. I thought it was the one that searches up a land, but they're not doing that. We've got Lissalana, normal stuff. You Meet in a Tavern makes a lot of sense to be played over the Lead the Stampede because it has the overrun type effect. And if they're going to go wider with something like Dwinnen's Elite, that makes sense. And then in the sideboard, they have 4 Mesmeric Fiend, which is kind of a beating versus the Glee decks. 2 Coalition Honor Guard. Right now, Flag Bearers don't stop splicing a Psychic Puppetry on Magic Online. I think that's a bug. If you're really high level judge, let me know. Right now on Magic Online, you do not have to target the Coalition Honor Guard with your puppetry, with your like Ideas Abound that's splicing a single puppetry. Then they have 3 Blue Blast and 3 to Glamour, with 1 Gleeful Sabotage, and then 2 Prohibit. So Elves with a Rainbow sideboard. One deck I wanted to pick up and take a look at was Cycletorm by Dingus Khan. Dingus is a silly name. And this is a deck that was affected by the banning of Deadly Dispute. But here they're playing 4 Rowan's Grimsearch, which is very, very powerful. If you don't like the top 4 cards of your library, you can put them all into the graveyard, and then you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. If you like any number of them, you put those on top, and you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. This is amazing in Cyclestorm, because if you put creatures to the graveyard, it actually makes your Songs of the Damned better. So if you actually Rowan's Grimsearch and put 4 creatures in the graveyard, that's sort of +1 mana. It can be mana neutral at 3 creatures, and then very cheap if you are putting any number of creatures into the graveyard, which you would definitely do. Usually with the Grimsearch, when I was playing the deck, you really are only looking to put into your hand Reaping the Graves or Songs of the Damned. And if you haven't seen this deck before, I've got a lot of good videos on my channel of it, and even this one. But we played this deck into a quad or a 5 Cold Oath of Burn league, and it didn't go very well. So if Burn, it's like kind of weak against mono red Burn because they can have a fast clock plus relic. But I think that it's not quite as weak versus the Madness Burn. The next deck is Debbagen's mono green tokens aggro. Sprout Swarm, that is sweet. So they're playing Cloakwood Swarmkeeper and Glimmerbarn token payoff cards. Glimmerbarn can sort of be your aggro, or not your ATOG in this deck. And then they have even Might of the Masses, which was a limited all-star when I played this back in the day. Fist in the Ironwood, create 2/1/1 green sapperling creature tokens and gives a creature trample, which could work on their Swarmkeeper or your Glimmerbarn. And they have 2 Rancors, which also give trample. And then since all of these spells create sapperlings, Echoing Courage, very, very good. Give target creature and all of the creatures with the same name as that creature +2/+2 until end of turn. All right, so the next deck is an example of one of the variants of Burn. We have a Go Wide Burn with 4 Gingerbrute, 4 Bushwhacker, 4 Tomb Raider, 4 Epicure, and 4 Burning Tree Emissary. Which Burning Tree Emissary makes red-green when it ETBs. Not very relevant for most of your cards, but it can cast a Ren's Resolve or a Rally at the Hornburg. It says, so Rally says, create 2/1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, and humans you control gain haste until end of turn. The Burning Tree is a human. Don't believe anything else is. So it just makes 2/1/1 haste creatures. And then they're playing 4 Galblast, 4 Lightning Bolt, 2 Fire Blast as their burn spells in the deck with 4 Ren's Resolve. They got Pyroblast and Raise and Relic and Smash. It is a deck that is ready to rock. Bushwhacker is still a good card. The other burn was by Lillopoto, and yep, they're playing 4 Epicure, 4 Flame Breather, and 4 Sneaky Snacker, and then looking to win the game by casting just a ridiculous amount of burn spells with like Fiery Temper or Highway Robbery and Grab the Prize to make your Fiery Temper better. Grab the Prize is sort of a burn spell by itself because you're discarding cards for value like Faithless Looting, Lava Dart, and Sneaky Snacker. We've got Fire Blast. So this is a Madness Burn deck that can afford to play Fire Blast. And because they have all of these draw spells that are card advantage when you're discarding your Fiery Temper or your Snacker, it's actually like you can draw enough to Fire Blast them, and not getting the Fire Blast stuck in exile from something like a Ren's Resolve is probably a large payoff there. The next deck is White-Green. This is White-Green Gates. 4, let's see. They're playing Battle Screech. We got Thraben Charm, Malevolent Rumble makes a creature, a Singleton Guardian, a bunch of Dawnbringers, 4 Sacred Cats. Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under control, you gain a life. Anointer Priest. So 4 Anointer Priest, 4 Lunarch Veterans. Wow. And then they have Acacian Javelineers, which it enters the battlefield with a counter on it, and you can remove a counter to ping something. That's a strange include, but I guess it's working. I don't know what you want to ping in this current format, but it's interesting. I think probably this is a result of an anti-meta deck where they have just so much life gain type stuff and so many tokens that they will just destroy any sort of burn deck. The next deck is by True Name Nemesis. This is mono black Packed Gardens. So they've got the 4 Colony Garden where the rest of the deck is just black, 4 Swamp, 4 Vault, and Bajuka Bog. They're playing Prized Statue, which is interesting. When it's ETB, you're put in a graveyard, create a treasure. But that synergizes with the Packed Terror, which is a nice finisher to drain out your opponent. And they're actually not playing any number of Avenging Hunter or Thorns in the main deck, choosing to put them in the sideboard. The Crypt Rats Toxin Analysis combo is in this deck to give your Crypt Rats lifelink and Death Touch, which is quite good. And otherwise, it's pretty normal. It's nice to see that this deck, which was a breakout deck just before the bans, is still a viable deck. The next deck I wanted to point out was Goblin Combo. Flocky Flocky playing this one this time, and they are playing the Storm Shriek Feral, which is a new favorite card of mine. It is a 4 and a red for a 3/3 flying haste dragon that has fire breathing for 1 and a red to give it +1/+0 until end of turn. Now this deck makes infinite mana with Putrid Goblin combined with Skirk Prospector and First Day of Class. So you make infinite red mana. Then you can keep looting or rummaging with your Storm Shriek Feral, eventually casting it and making it an infinite attacker. So they actually are not playing any other win condition. But I mean, you draw your deck, you play a bunch of First Day of Classes. Now you've got this giant like 6/6 flying dragon, 4 of them coming out hot. That's awesome. They have Pyromantics in the sideboard as a way to get through if your opponent has any like flying blockers, I guess. Usually you could just like smash in. This is a deck I'm interested in trying again. The next one is a spy list by Guilo Dice or Giulio Dice, who knows. I thought this was interesting. This is sort of like a mishmash of, oh, I see what's going on here. I just did a recording with Giorgio Combo of the Spy creator, I guess, the 5-land Spy creator. And this is actually something that we talked about. This is a 6-land Spy looking to play more of a mid-range game. They have 2 Nyxborn Hydra, Dawn Treader Elk, which is basically, you have Sakura Tribe Elder that you can sacrifice to get a land into play. This Dawn Treader Elk is a 2/2 for 2. You can pay a green to put a land into play. They have Gatekeeper Vine, Mass Vandal, and then no way to fetch out the Spy, but they do have 4 Writhing Chrysalis in the main deck. And then they have Troll Exhume, Faithless Looting, and Land Grant. This is cool. I am very interested in this. This is what he said was a more like fair mid-range version of the deck. And you're looking to like just play the game and eventually randomly kill your opponent with Balustrade Spy. That's sweet. Sideboard's got Relics, Red Blast, Flaring Pain, Mezfiend, Weatherstorm, and Breath Weapon. And so they're on 3 Forest, 1 Mountain, 2 Swamp. That is really cool. So the top 2 decks, I think this one is going to be deck number 2 by Ghost Funk. This is like Packdoll Affinity, but they're playing 4 Fireweaver, 3 Packdoll, and Krark-Clan Shaman plus Toxin Analysis, and just looking to get value out of these cards and kill your opponent really quickly. They've got Blood Fountain, Candy Trail, Nile Spellbomb. Fanatical Offering makes an artifact, which is important. And then they actually have Vampire's Kiss, which makes 2 artifacts. So I can see this going pretty well. I think this deck is really cool. And it's a nice innovative way to play the Affinity style deck without actually being Affinity because, you know, Mirror Enforcer's overplayed. No, this is really sweet. Bridge, Furnace, I might try that as well. So let me know in the comments what kind of decks you want to see from this video. And my top deck of the week, I got to give it to Cosmic Charles. He's made 2 trophies, 3 trophies, 4 trophies in April alone with Ruby Storm. So this version is playing the Rummage effects. Got 16 lands, no Lotus Petal, 4 Rite of Flame, 4 Seething Song, and looking to eventually just like Stream of Thought loop and mill your opponent out. but he also has a singleton Seize the Storm, which can just be a giant attacker and get in with the Bitter Reunion and win the game a little bit faster. Sideboard's got a Dispel for 6 Pyroblast effects, another Stream of Thought, some Apostle's Blessing, a Knight's Gate Familiar to go up on FAMs, Compulsive Research to deck your opponent on this turn so that they can't loop, and then Siege Master Relic. Really, really sweet deck. He does have a lot of gameplay on his YouTube channel, so you can check that out. I'll put it in the links as well. So let me know what you thought about the metagame. We had more trophies than I've seen pretty much ever in a Magic Online League week at 189. That's just incredible. Hopefully you guys are all having fun in Pauper and enjoying. Let me know what you thought was the spiciest or if I missed something, and I'll see you in the next video.